Hey guys, Foxdrop here with a video on 3 upcoming OP underrated junglers for solo queue. In this video today, we'll be taking a look at 3 junglers that are knocking down on the door of the kingdom of the OP while flying under the radar at the same time. These champions may not be top tier just yet, but they're still very good for solo queue. And as the meta may shift in the future, champions may get nerfed, people get more used to playing these champions, you may see these guys rise up in that power ranking and become top tier solo queue junglers. Now, not only are these junglers very good, but all of these just happen to be very easy champions to play. So if you are looking for a new jungler to add to your champion pool, I would highly recommend all of these champions. Because like I say, not only are they very strong, not only are they very easy to play too, but they're very unpopular, which means you'll be able to get your grubby little paws on them every single game. Just as a reference point, you're almost twice as likely to see a Jarvan jungle in your games than any of these that we're mentioning today. And of course, as with all of these kind of videos, not only want to be showing you these champions, but also be showing you how they work, how to play them, so that if you do want to pick them up, you should be able to after watching this video. So for the first champion on this list, it's going to be the counter jungling terror, Nunu. Nunu is a pretty foul champion, if you ask me, though that's probably because I never played Nunu, and if I play against him, it's a very painful experience. Nunu's a champion who operates most effectively by trying to keep the enemy jungler down. His consume ability is really good for nipping into the enemy jungle and taking things away really quickly. It means that not only is he very safe at counter jungling as well, but he can even steal things from under the enemy jungler's nose. If you combine your consume, which is essentially an extra smite, with your actual smite, there's no way that the enemy jungler can contest whatever it is that you want to take from him. He's also a champion that more incorporates a supporty playstyle than anything else. He's not someone who's going to run around and do crazy damage unless you want to build full AP Nunu, which you can do that if you want to do that. It's kind of funny if you can trap someone in the bush, make them face check you while you got your ultimate charging, and then pop them in one hit. I'm not going to deny that is a very fun way to be playing Nunu, but also not going to lie, I didn't put him on this list because of his full AP qualities. Because what's best about Nunu with his kit is that he can fill that supporty role where he's very tanky, and he can also speed up his teammates. He can slow down enemies to peel for his teammates. He can also slap down his ultimate in the middle of a team fight and make it really hard for the enemy team to move around him. Like, imagine playing a whole team fight where your move speed was cut in half. It's really hard to do. And of course, on top of that, by the time lane phase ends and you start crawling into the mid game, the enemy jungler should be so weak that you'll have an inherent advantage as a team anyway. To be honest, it just takes a special kind of sinner to play Nunu, and if you think that's you, then by all means go ahead. And if you have decided that you have no conscience and no soul, specifically how you go about playing him, in the early game you want to be invading as much as you can. You want to focus around cock blocking that enemy jungler from his own jungle camps. You can try to do a cheesy level 2 invade where you take your first buff and then bomb it over to the other side of the jungle and take his buff away. Like, you don't really need to be particularly precise with how you construct your invades on Nunu, because even if you time it poorly and you run into the enemy jungler, the chance of you dying is really slim, and you can still just take something right from under his nose. Outside of that, you can do some really simple ganks, just run into the enemy lane, snowball the enemy, speed up your ally, and if you can, by focusing on the bot lane, you also open up that opportunity to take away dragons, because you as Nunu can take it quite efficiently. You just need a little bit of extra help to take it faster. And last but not least, the new Stoneborn Pact Mastery is really the big kind of activator for Nunu as to why he's risen up in the ranks so much recently. Like, being able to get that extra health, being able to provide a little bit extra utility as well when you slow down the enemies, it's the cherry on top of the Nunu cake. So for your runes, go attack speed reds, health per level yellows, cooldown reduction blues with a mix of magic resist as well, and move speed quints. For your masteries, 12, 0, 18, getting that Stoneborn Pact, like I say, very good on Nunu. And for your item build, go green smite into Cinderhulk, then just get tank items or support items or a mix between the two. So Frozen Heart, Randuin's, Locket, Redemption, Knight's Vow, stuff like that. Moving on to our second champion in this list, Xin Zhao. I actually did a spectate gameplay of Xin yesterday where we took a look at the highest ranked Korean Xin Zhao, where he plays in jungle in Master Tier with a 70% win rate. It's really impressive. And if you did watch that gameplay, you'll see not only how powerful Xin can be, but specifically just how bloody easy he is to play as well. Like, genuinely, it is extremely easy to play Xin Zhao. I can't even think of a champion, in my opinion, who I would say is an easier champion to play fundamentally. Like, even champions like Annie or like Soraka, right? These champions who have no mechanics, easy as sin to play. At least those champions are squishy, so you have to worry a little bit about positioning. With Xin, there's just like no positional play whatsoever. You just jump into the enemy squishies, you blow your load on them, and that's it. On a more serious note though, Xin is generally quite a well-rounded champion. He's someone who doesn't struggle with his jungle clears whatsoever. His W gives him quite good sustain. And as a champion that builds a lot of AD, to have an attack speed steroid, an auto attack reset, and an auto attack empower ability, it means that your jungle clears are also quite fast. And on top of that as well, that's also what gives Xin such good damage in those 1v1s. There aren't too many junglers in this game that can stand toe to toe with Xin if he's on full health. If you see the enemy jungler and you're playing Xin, just jump in on them. Chances are you'll shit on them. But outside of that, if you decide you want to gank lanes, which I would always recommend that you do because it's a highly effective way to be winning games in solo queue, especially in lower elo solo queue. Xin is just so good at ganking in my opinion. It's just impossible to mess up his gank. He's got the gap closer, he's got the damage, he's got the CC. You jump in on someone, you beat the shit out of them, you knock them up, they're dead. The only real downside to Xin's ganks is that he lacks range and creativity. So what I mean by that is if you can't get in range for your E, you can't do anything. And he also doesn't offer quite the same kind of threat in these ganks like the top ganking junglers in this game would do. People like Elise, for example, who could repel in and then cocoon from far away, or Lee Sin, who's got 2 gap closers and a slow. And finally, that level 6 power spike for Xin doesn't necessarily give him too much as far as those ganks are concerned. And on top of that, last but not least, Xin does have very good dragon slaying capabilities. He has very good single target damage that's sustained, and very good sustain in his W, so he doesn't just die to the dragon. Now at this point, normally I would, explain how to play Xin, but I have pretty much already done that. You just run around the map, you fight people, you gank people if you want to do that, you can invade, counter jungle, fight the enemy jungler. So guess what we need now are the nitty gritty details. So for your runes, go for attack, damage reds, armor yellows, MR blues, and attack speed quints. For your masteries, 18-0-12 or 18-12-0 with fervor for battle. And if your item build, red smite into blood razor should be your core. And then you can get a damage item after that. Normally a phage item is good, so like Triforce or Black Cleaver. The new Bork, I think, is actually pretty good in him as well. And outside of that, just get tanky. Now before we move on to our last champion on this list, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for checking the video out so far. I hope you enjoy it. I've put in a lot more effort into my content recently, and I think it's paying off. So, and if you agree, then, you can leave me a cheeky thumbs up. At a glance, it lets me know if I'm doing a good job or not. And it also serves to stroke my ego. So moving on to our last champion on this list, it is the newly reworked Terror of Zorn. I'm actually not sure if that's his title, but it sounded pretty cool, so we'll go with it. Warwick. It's kind of funny for me to feature Warwick on a video about strong junglers, because this was someone who I thought might not be a good jungler on release. I tried to play him more like Shyvana, and to be honest, that's just wrong. You just play him full tank, of course you do, you're always just playing them full tank. And Warwick is just so effective as a full tank champion, it's disgusting. As with all good tanks in this wonderful game of League of Legends, they do ridiculous amounts of damage while being unkillable. And the cool thing about the new Warwick is he actually has a decent amount of utility in his kit as well. The AoE fear on his E is actually pretty grim, and that damage reduction is nothing to shake a stick at either. Very solid. I mean, you can just mute the video and just watch the clips in the background here. You'll see how disgusting this Warwick is. This guy built full tank and just runs around. One combos most squishies, doesn't die. What more could you want? As far as his actual jungling capabilities go, Warwick does clear pretty fast. Now, he's not very good at clearing the jungle until you get Tiamat, but thankfully you tend to rush that item, and Titanic Hydra also tends to be part of your core build too, so you can get Tiamat, that's fine. Your sustain is top notch, you heal so much when you're in that jungle, you don't take any bloody damage. And yeah, he's just, it's vile, honestly. I mean, generally just watch the clips in the background here. This is what Warwick does. So if you do want to learn how to play Warwick, I would say in the early game, be a little bit careful, because it's definitely his weakest part in my opinion. He does have pretty good damage and his 1v1s aren't too bad, but his ganks aren't anything special. And if you run into some really strong early game junglers, they can still bully you around a little bit. But in my opinion, as soon as you complete your core item build, which will be Cinderhawk plus Titanic Hydra, you are a force to be reckoned with. At that point in the game, there's not really anything that you need to worry about. You can run around and do pretty much whatever it is you want to do. Once you reach that point, not many people can handle you in the 1v1 or even a 2v1, to be honest, unless you're really far behind or they're really far ahead. But even if they are really far ahead, it just means that you found a prime target for your ulti. I think something that's also really nice about Warwick is the way his W works. It kind of just alerts you to when anything's happening on the map. Do take advantage of that and travel around the map and go to the places where people are fighting and try and influence those fights. Because Warwick is very good in these small skirmishes. If there aren't too many people there, then chances are they probably won't even be able to kill you. And Warwick just loves going toe to toe with people, so it pretty much suits your playstyle perfectly if you do decide to go for those small skirmishes. But anyway, for your runes, you want to go 80 reds, army lows, MR blues, and attack speed quints. For your masteries, 18-0-12 with fervor for battle. Your item build, like I say, that Tiamat is core, so rush that first before you get anything else, and then get red smites in the Hulk and finish that Tiamat into a Titanic Hydra. After that, just make sure you go tanky. Deadman's Plate is your best armor item early on. Spirit Visage is your best MR item. If it's tanky though, you can buy it and you'll be fine. But anyway, that just about wraps it up for this video, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to me if you do want to see more stuff like this. You can leave your suggestions down below in the comments or your thoughts about the video, your feedback in general. And like I say, that cheeky thumbs up helps me as well. But thanks for watching the video, boys and girls. Hope you have a wonderful day, night, evening, afternoon, whatever it is where you're from. And I will see you in my next video.